If the martyrs of the early church were able to walk into one of our churches today, would they truly recognize us as brothers and sisters in the same faith? Or would they be shocked by what Christianity has become? It is an uncomfortable, perhaps even provocative, question. Yet authentic reflection often begins with the most difficult questions. Before we begin, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so you don't miss future videos, and leave a like. It's a small gesture that helps us share content dedicated to church history, the Christian faith, and apologetic. In AD 64, according to historical tradition, a devastating fire swept through Rome during the reign of Emperor Nero. Accused of causing the disaster himself, Nero quickly sought a scapegoat and blamed the Christians. From that moment began one of the most famous persecutions in Christian history. But the fundamental question is this: why the Christians? Why did an empire generally known for its tolerance of foreign religions decide to persecute them so fiercely? The answer is complex, but it can be summarized in two essential reasons. The first concerned the relationship between Christians and imperial authority. Rome had long been accustomed to incorporating the religions of conquered peoples. Over time, however, the imperial cult emerged, presenting the emperor as a divine figure. It was no longer enough to respect the ruler. Citizens were expected to offer sacrifices and acts of worship to him. For Christians, this was impossible. The first believers were neither political rebels nor revolutionaries. On the contrary, they acknowledged the legitimacy of civil authority and prayed for the emperor. Ancient Christian writers, including Tertullian, testify to this. He even declared that the emperor was more ours than yours, because Christians faithfully prayed for his well-being. Yet there was one absolute limit. Worship belongs to God alone. Whenever earthly power demands the place that belongs only to the Creator, the Christian must refuse, even at the cost of his own life. That is precisely what thousands of men, women, and children did. They chose torture, imprisonment, and death rather than perform a single act of idolatry. The second reason for the persecution concerned the Christian proclamation itself. The Roman Empire tolerated nearly every religion, provided that none claimed to be the one true way. Christianity, however, boldly proclaimed that Jesus Christ is the only Savior and that idols are not gods. Such a claim to absolute truth was intolerable in a society built upon religious pluralism. The martyrs did not die because they hated other peoples or other religions. They died because they refused to abandon the truth they had received. And here another disturbing question arises. If those martyrs could observe the way we live our faith today, what would they say? Would they see a church filled with men and women willing to sacrifice everything for Christ? Or would they see a community more concerned with being accepted by the world than remaining faithful to the gospel? Today, no one forces us to burn incense before the statue of an emperor. Yet new forms of idolatry remain. Success, money, popularity, public image, power. How often do these things take first place in our lives while God is pushed aside? Idolatry is not limited to bowing before carved statues. It exists whenever anything occupies the place that belongs to God alone. At the same time, we live in a culture that increasingly teaches that every belief is equally valid, every religion equally true, and every conviction merely a matter of personal opinion. For many people, speaking about absolute truth has become almost embarrassing. The martyrs, however, accepted death because they believed that truth was worth more than life itself. This does not mean despising those who think differently or abandoning respect for every human person. It means asking ourselves how much we truly value the faith we profess. If Christianity becomes nothing more than a private opinion, unable to shape our daily choices, it risks becoming irrelevant. The first Christians remind us that faith is not merely something we profess. It is something we live. Their witness continues to challenge us nearly 2,000 years later. Perhaps the real question is not what the martyrs would think of us. The real question is this: would we have their courage if we were forced to choose between Christ and our own security? It is a question none of us can avoid, because the story of the martyrs does not belong only to the past. It is a mirror in which every Christian is called to examine his own conscience. If this reflection encouraged you, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. Would the martyrs of the early church recognize Christianity today, or would they call us back to the courage and faith of the first believers?